Welcome, Madridistas. How's everyone doing? A very important win in Greece, huh? But surreal. You've got to see how the team's doing. Luckily, today Vinicius and Mbappe were able to score more. Still, in the end, it was surreal. We were decisive in both boxes. Today, they were firing on all cylinders. Absolutely. That's why a huge game. A huge game. You can hear me fine, right? Yeah, huge game from Vinicius. Huge as well, of course. Mbappe week. The 4 goals he scored. Well, and that amazing goal by Vinicius, that was disallowed because he was just barely offside, but he really was offside. On the other hand, yeah, seeing how they finished us off while we just stood there watching their strikers completely unmarked. Inside the box with 2 headers, good headers, of course, but anyway, avoidable in the sense that if we'd had center backs, sure, well, it was Asensio. Uh, but the other was just runs. So maybe they could have done something because I'm reading your comments there. A lot of talk about what a disaster the defense was and all that. Well, Madrid's absences today were important, huh? Even so, that's no excuse for them not to grasp some basic things in the A, B, C about how you're supposed to defend. Look at Carreras, for example, who yesterday in the press conference said something like, well, I can play left back, center back, wherever they put me. Well, okay, he hasn't been sharp. Asensio either. 30, Alexander Arnold. We always separate the two sides of his game. On defense, he's just like the rest. And on offense, he's a guy who can contribute and really does with a right foot like a glove. Why, well, a midfielder that today, well, neither today nor ever has he carried much weight. Not to mention that Tchouaméni has already had a bad game. Has Tchouaméni's return hurt the team? No, we don't dominate. We don't control. We're a team very unreliable. And if they're not sharp up front, well, we can lose. But today, they were really on point. And that's why we kept things under control. Otherwise, they would have scored 3 on us. And today we'd be talking about something else. When is the German center back coming back? Well, I heard he was around. I was asking about it here. There are just so many questions. Thanks a lot, everyone. We're almost 500. And no, I didn't know who it was who was asking me the question, but I did see the question about when Rudiger will be back. With Rudiger, they're waiting for him to play no matter what. In fact, they probably could have pushed him to play already, but they decided not to because of Rudiger's circumstances coming in, because of the injuries, his age, and so on. And they want him to be there no matter what for the home game because the Norwegian is a bit scary here. And over there, we'll need to get the German back. I think he'll be ready before then. I think maybe even already. Will he be able to play in the next game? Because he's with the rest of the group, right? Doing work with the rest of his teammates. Miguel Oyarda moves in close to the box, and Mbappe scores again. Hilaire can't play that far back. Yeah, Madrid started today with great Tchouaméni as the pivot, Fede Valverde as the right midfielder, Camavinga as left midfielder, and Güler playing in the hole there with Vinicius and Mbappe. When there was a huge moment in the first half, Lily like, well, Madrid, did they pull it off? He sounded the bugle for the attack, like the 7th Cavalry, and of course, with Goulart's pinpoint, passes with his right foot, setting up Mbappe's header. Mbappe heads it in. By the way, even though he doesn't try it often, his header today shows he knows a skill in football that no striker should be without. Why? He nailed all the timing of a really good header. It's true, he was also unmarked, with time and space. To make it happen, that really great pass from Camavinga. Come on, Mbappe on that goal. Wonderful pass from Vinicius on Mbappe's first goal and Real Madrid's first, with the outside of his foot and then the play he came up with. In the second half, where he reached the end line and showed that this is Vinicius. This is the Vinicius we love so much. The one who keeps at it on the left wing and blows past his rivals with ease. And if he doesn't get past them, he just keeps trying over and over again and creates a ton of offense. And of course, if you've got Mbappe out there, then it's only natural they'll go in. And that's how it went. But there was a moment in the second half before the second goal from them that the team has been right there. Before Taremi's goal, the team was right there, messing around feeling themselves too much, and without the practicality you need in these kinds of situations and competitions where you absolutely have to win. And today, luckily, we pulled it off. We pulled it off despite all the ups and downs of the match. Miguel, so according to your analysis, we're still a mess despite the win. Well, it's just that today the team wasn't good. Today the team played well at times, but defense is really important. And if on defense you're shaky like jelly, like we've been, or not even like jelly, with all very little focus. Watching how the forwards finish and this way, like we saw today, well, you tell me. We're not reliable? We're not reliable. I can't really call Madrid's game a good one when we gave up 3 goals in defense. The first one, to be fair, was a really nice combination right on the edge of the box. In the first half, in the opening minutes, and a bit of bad luck, because it was bad luck for us, not all skill. All credit to the Olympiacos player who caught that right-footed shot from outside the box. Tremendous. But there was a bit of, no way 3 guys can pass it around against the 4 or 5 of us. Right on the edge of the box, just messing around with a little keep away, so some guy can take a shot from outside the box without anyone challenging him. That can't happen. And then there are big names. Not big names. Valverde wasn't sloppy. He just didn't have a good game. With Belling, I'm not sure if it's an injury. Because if it is an injury, why did he come on in the second half? I'm not sure if it's a tactical decision. I think it was a tactical decision. And well, let's see what Xavi has to say in the press conference. Miguel, but I've even seen it with Rodriguez-Hausen taking shots. Sorry, with them taking shots at us and all that. You saw that even. Hausen, they finished us off at will and, well, and with, What? Militao. Why? Militao and Hausen, yes. No, it's not just about the ones who were here today. But today, with that working in their favor, of course, it was a defense. I'll tell you. Unprecedented. Madrid had never lined up with the defense Miguel put out there today. But today, Vini shone because there was a lot of space behind the Greeks' defense. Damn, yeah, well, of course. But that's when Vini shines the most, for sure. And also because Olympiacos, has been a bold team. They went for the win from minute 1. Really made it tough for Madrid. That's why we found so many openings. And that's why the goals, right? Does the midfield even exist for Xavi? No. What doesn't exist for him? Look, what Xavi doesn't have is players who can actually run the midfield. If you put Casemiro, Kroos, Modric in there, I guarantee Madrid plays way better than they're playing right now. When Ceballos came on, he was just Ceballos. It was, I'm not going to say a disaster, but yeah, an almost invisible player, says Alex from Guatemala. How is it that our top scorer nets 4 goals and we still end up with a bitter taste after conceding 3 and the defense just doesn't recover? We're going to look pathetic. Thanks a lot, Alex. As always, man. Well, that's how it goes. Yeah, the thing is that in defense, Madrid is pretty shaky. Only Goulart in the Tropolingami almost, and they almost tied us. Just a sec. I don't know why. Let me pull up the comments. I'm going to show the comments here on screen. And I don't know if I'll see it better here. I don't think so, but oh well. All right, I'll make it a little bigger. And in medium-sized letters. We won even without a coach on the bench. It says here, X. Bad Gustax. I think he said it. Look, about the coach issue, I think there's work to be done here, which, for whatever reason, isn't being absorbed the way it should be. But I think we've got coaches here, and there's work being done. Let's see. Xabi Alonso has proven he's a good coach in Germany, and there's no doubt about that. Let's listen to Mbappé, who's live right now. Come on.
A game today with Real Madrid.
Not too happy. I remember more the team's victory. I remember more all the positive plays we had during the match. We scored 4 great team goals of high quality, and we're heading back to Madrid with the 3 points. It was the team's effort. That's what we are in the end. We're happy, and me too.
Check this out. Kylian, there are only 4 players in Real Madrid history who have scored 4 goals in a European Cup match. Puskas, Cristiano, and you? Quite an honor to be in this group, huh?
Yeah. Good company, huh? There are players who have made history at Real Madrid, who have marked an era here in Madrid. It's an honor for me to be part of this list, but like I've said, I only arrived here a year ago. In the end, I have to do a lot to be among the kind of players who have done so much for Real Madrid. And I'm on the path to doing great things. Why is my biggest dream.
Were you talking earlier about the positives? Today's story. How would you sum up the win? Because it was really important today.
Not very important. No, it wasn't easy to come here and win with all their fans. The stadium creates an incredible atmosphere. We started off poorly, conceded the first goal, but then we started playing our game. To have quality in our offensive play, to create scoring chances, to score 3 goals. And then we had control of the match. For a long time, they scored 2 out of 3, and then we scored the 4th goal. In the end, we had a lot of control. And in the end, they made it 3-4. A bit of tension in the match. But that's normal in the Champions League because everyone wants to win.
Tell me about Vinny's amazing game and what it's like to have him as a teammate. On days like today, when he seems unstoppable.
No, it wasn't a great game from Vinny. He's a player who can make a big difference during a game. He thought that for a fullback. It's horrible to face Vinny for an hour and a half. He played a great game. Like the whole team, we're very happy to have a player like that. The way the team is coming along.
And finally, Kylian, 22 goals in November. Still sounds pretty good, huh?
Very good. It's very good, but we have to keep going. We're on the path we want. Top of the league in the Champions League round of 16. For now, we're on the right track. We need to improve because there are a lot of things to improve, but we're on track with our project and we're happy. Thanks, Kelly. Really happy. Bye.
Mabel Julio Cabrera joins an elite club in the European Cup. Speaking.
Well, that's what we're going to have against Manchester City. Next game on Wednesday, December 10th. Real Madrid versus Monaco, also at the Bernabeu on Tuesday, January 20th. By then, we'll be in 2026 and wrap up this group stage against Mourinho's Benfica. Too bad it's not at the Bernabeu, because otherwise Mourinho would get a warm welcome. But it'll be in Lisbon on Wednesday, January 28th. And by then, we'll already be there. Already qualified because Madrid today, aside from the game, now we're going all in, guys. They've taken a huge step toward qualifying. Why? Because now I'm going to share some incredible stats. And the Olympiacos siege at the end of the match, they could have easily tied it. But I want to share today's results with you. Heads up, someone mentioned here, Liverpool lost 1-4. Liverpool. 1-4 against PSV in the same stadium where we lost 2-0, and they ran circles around us, man. Liverpool is in such a state that, here we are talking about how great Madrid is and all that, throwing jabs at each other. But Liverpool, who spent 300 million this summer, lost 1-4 to PSV. If PSV didn't also get thrashed in 1. It's not Ajax. It's Ajax that's worse off. Yeah. Not so much PSV, but still. Pathos tied Monaco 2-2. Copenhagen beat Kairat Almaty 3-2. And watch out, we're already seeing some big results here. Paris Saint-Germain 5, Tottenham Hotspur 3, Olympiacos 3, Real Madrid 4, the one we saw. Arsenal 3, Bayern Munich 1. Watch out for Arsenal. They're the only ones who've won it all and are top of the table. So Arsenal 3, Bayern Munich, no, Liverpool 1. SV 4, we already talked about. Atletico Madrid 1 with a goal from Jimenez. In the last minute, a goal from a corner. I think it was, the game was tied and it showed on the scoreboard. Then Inter tied it up and Atleti pulled off the win in the last minute. Otherwise, things might have gotten a little tricky because today they were definitely going for the win. And now let's see how the standings are. The final standings, right? With these last 3 matches left, or is it 4 last matches left? Left 4, right? Wait, we just saw it and now, I don't even remember. Was it 3 or 4? I don't remember. How many did we say? Eintracht Frankfurt 3, Atalanta 0. Forget about him doing anything big in Barcelona at their stadium, at the Camp Nou. I don't think so. And Sporting Portugal beat Bruges 3-0. And the standings are like this. Where are the standings here? All right, now with everyone having played the same matches. All the same matches. Madrid is 5th. Damn, I thought they were going to be 4th. Damn. Madrid is 5th. First is Arsenal with 15 points. Then Paris Saint-Germain, Bayern Munich, Inter Milan, and Real Madrid have 12 points. So basically, they're in 5th place, but with the same points as the team in 2nd. The only thing is they've got a worse goal difference. Madrid is at +7, Arsenal at +13, Paris Saint-Germain +11, Bayern Munich +9. Well, Inter is right there, just a stone's throw away, with the same points and only a 2-goal difference. We've got Chelsea ahead of Dortmund too, 6th and 7th. And rounding out the top 8 is a surprising Sporting Portugal, now down to 9th, Manchester City. Watch out for Barca. They're in 18th. Yesterday they were 15th, and Atletico Madrid too. By finishing the match with a win, they've ended up with those 9 points we see there. They would have had just 7 and would have been, almost tied with Barca. Well, damn, amazing. I don't know if you can see the standings clearly here. Hold on. I'm going to zoom in a little more. Oh, well, I think this year for sure we're not going to have any trouble. The victory is huge. I'm seeing a lot of criticism here. A lot of criticism for Valverde, Miguel. In that close-up of the standings, you don't see the referees. Where the hell are they? 18-18. Anthony Presidio is in the top 18. He's in 18th place. We are 1,247 guys. A million thanks. We're waiting for Xabi Alonso to come out and speak, see what he has to say. Anyway, we'll be here for a while. Then we'll head over to Viga for anyone who wants to join me. There, over on Viga, on another platform, we'll be able to watch all the match highlights or whatever we can, because there we can actually watch football footage, which is something that's here on YouTube. They don't let us, right? Is Ricardo Valverde just coming back from an injury? Yeah, but the other day, he'd only been on the field for about 10 minutes, and look how he tracked back. And today, honestly, he's been erratic, and today, no, he hasn't been good. Anyway, let's see, Valverde. All right, no, I'm not streaming on Big Up yet. That'll be later. Ivan, I'll only hook it up once we finish the stream here on YouTube. We'll head over to Viga, all right? And we'll hang out there for a while. I don't stream on both places at the same time. Ceballos, Brahimi, Rodrigo, at the very least, these players out next year. I mean, it's true. Like, you put Brahim in, you put Ceballos in and all that, and they don't change a thing. And don't even get me started on Rodrigo. It's just that, no, he's not the kind who changes. Rodrigo's playing against you, man. I mean, Rodrigo plays against us, man. Brother Miguel, what do you think is wrong? What do you think is wrong with the team? Well, look, today the defense was more of an issue. Even though someone was saying that when Militao's in, it's happened too. It happened at the Metropolitano. But today, I think the defensive mess and the why being so passive when Olympiacos attacked, and Olympiacos and that whole semifinal siege and all. It's largely because of the injuries. Damn, I mean, they're gone. Let's see. You've got one left standing. At center back, you've only got Hausen, Rudiger, and Alaba available. So all 4 are out. Your 4 center backs get injured? Man, well, you've got to be affected by that, right? I mean, not really. We're not going to go here and to say the team defends like that, but only because their coach still hasn't figured it out. No. Alonso's definitely not at his best right now, though the players aren't doing great either. And on top of that, with the defense missing key people today, it's going to be tough. Hey, what's going on? Ruben, man, hold on. What are you telling me? Singular in its place. We're not going anywhere good. Today, Goulet. In the first few minutes, he was a bit closer to Mbappé. He was right there. Galera played well for a good stretch. Let's hear from Savi. Hold on. We're going to see it in just a second. I'm hearing it here in the preview, what they're saying. Radio terms, radio lingo. And Xavi is about to start talking. He's in the flash. Interview right before the press conference. Hang on a second. Here he is.
It's 11:23 at night, and we are live with the coach. Coach, congratulations. How do you rate this well-deserved and important win here today in Athens?
Very important, obviously, given we were coming off a run of 3 games without a win. We needed to get back that feeling of winning a tough game, a game where we conceded early, but I really liked how we bounced back without losing control, trusting we were going to get our chances.
The last half hour of the first half was really good. The second half was more contested. They were already desperate.
We went 4 goals ahead, and then it got tight at the end. But today was about winning, taking home the 3 points. We're in a good spot in the standings, and now it's time to focus on the league.
Lots of goals from the team, lots of chances. That's the most positive thing Real Madrid did today.
The spirit we've had to go out there and win the game, to try and turn around these bad results we'd been getting. And then with sacrifice, with unity, with everyone together. And this is kind of what the tone we wanted today was really important.
4 goals from Mbappé, which is a historic milestone for Real Madrid. Only 4 players in the entire history of Real Madrid. And listen, these 4, Puskas, Di Stefano, Cristiano, and Kylian Mbappé, have each scored 4 goals in the European Cup. What does that tell you?
Well, it tells you the names. It gives you goosebumps. The club's history and the goals. Well, I'm really happy for him, but I value a lot more than just the goals. The influence he has, the leadership that person has. Before the game to talk with his teammates, and then the team wants to help him. He helps the team a lot, and today he deserves it.
And what did you think of Vinicius's amazing game on the left wing?
His 2 assists.
Yeah, I felt really bad that I didn't.
That the goal didn't count because it was a goal. We talked about yesterday, a goal that would have been really good for him. It'll come again for sure. But
Today, he made both assists, came close, and had a big impact.
Thanks, coach. Thanks.
so highlighting the Real Madrid coach, mainly the key players, not Mbappe.
Well, there was Xabi Alonso, just for a moment, because of course, here's Victorio Galera. So what's he going to say to Xabi, right? Mbappe's great stats, which I don't even need to tell you about anymore. Big thanks to Milton for asking for those likes, guys, and for subscribing to the channel. For those who aren't, thanks. What Victorio Galero keeps telling Mbappe and Xabi Alonso over and over is that only 3 players had scored 4 goals in a Champions League match. Besides Mbappe, there's Xavi. All right, I'll tell you later, because there's a very negative stat about Real Madrid in this Champions that the interviewer isn't going to tell the interviewees, but it's something they really need to think about, you know? On a defensive level, that's going to blow your mind. So you're already sitting in the press room at the Kreisgakis, or whatever that stadium in Greece is called. All right, let's stir things up.
Alonso.
I hear you. Yeah. We're close.
All right. Hello, coach. Antonio Romero lived for El Arriero on Cadena Ser in a match that seemed under control and where probably the most important thing was to win. Well, if not, probably the most important thing was to win. How would you explain the second half where the lack of control at certain moments put your team's result at risk?
Well, first I want to highlight what was most important, which is the 3 points we wanted. Not just for the standings and the spot we have right now in the Champions League group stage, which puts us at 12 points, but also to break a bit the streak we had of 3 games without a win. We weren't feeling great. And then the game had all kinds of moments. We got into it, and we fell behind 1-0 in the 8th minute. I think it was. But the team has shown. We stayed calm. We did. Confidence. We've had the maturity to not lose our heads, and we were able to comfortably turn the game around. In the second half, there were all kinds of moments, right? Yeah, in the end, they really pushed. We needed to tighten up a bit and hold our positions a little longer. But the game's over now, and I'm taking the 3 points with me. Now we have to keep going for the league. Hi, Xavi, how's it going?
Ruben Canizares from ABC. I think today you faced 18 shots. The other day at the Martinez Valero, Elche also created plenty of chances, scored goals. Today, Olympiacos scored 3. Why do you think the team struggles at Anfield too, for example, despite 10-13 and plenty of chances? Why do you think the team? They look completely different in defense than in offense because they let the opponents get through, take shots, threaten, and create chances. What do you think could be improved there?
No, we need to improve a little bit in everything. Obviously, in those phases when the opposing team is pressing, holding our ground, getting stronger, staying close together. There have been moments in the first half we did really well. We should hold on to that. The ones that didn't, well, we'll improve them because we need that defensive solidity and combine it with the finishing power we had today. We were coming off games where it was hard for us to score. And then also with a bit of bad luck, which was a shame. But today was about winning. We did it. We broke the streak a little, and now we want to do that in the league too.
How's it going? Xavier Martin from Oki Diario. Today, everyone is going to be talking about Mbappe. He scored 4 goals. But I wanted to ask you about Vinicius' game. You just pointed it out. He played an amazing game. He could have scored a stunning goal. He scored a goal that didn't count either. What can you say about him?
I feel really bad about the disallowed goal because it's a play we talked about yesterday. And, well, it would have given him a really good feeling of scoring it because it's a classic goal of his, cutting in from the outside to the far post. And yeah, it really bums me out that it got called off. But then besides that, chemistry and connection he had with Kylian, both assists, the impact he's had. So overall, with the difficulties we had, because then Eduardo at halftime couldn't count on Raul. He also had some discomfort in his hamstring. So it was a game in the moment that we pulled off. And with some positives, Kylian's goals, Vini's goals, Vini's performance, and other players too who have done well.
Hi, Xavi. Abraham Romero from El Mundo. Wanted to ask you something. You mentioned the team's maturity after the 1-0. I wanted to ask you about the hours leading up to it, just a bit. What did you tell them before the game? Because it was a game, like you said, that in terms of how it felt and the results was important in both areas. After everything that had been talked about these past few days, these are the kind of lead-ups you only get every 15 days. And how is that connection you like to have with them?
These have been some lead-up hours, and since we got here yesterday, very, very positive, very productive, that have helped us keep growing and not try to break the momentum. We've managed it and learned to live with tough moments and very positive about the things we've talked about, the unity they have, the one the players have, the commitment they have. And that's the only way. I mean, that's how it's been. I'm taking a lot away from that, besides the 3 points, from things that happen inside that are positive.
Good evening, Xavi. Sergio Lopez from Los. Today, you've reached 40 goals this season. Out of that total, 22 are from Mbappé. Do you think it's an exaggeration to say Mbappé is basically half of Real Madrid right now?
Up is very important. Goals, obviously, are the most important thing, but the personality he has, the leadership he shows, the influence he has on the rest in the day-to-day of these things we're talking about are intangibles that also matter. They're essential to building a team, to having a sense of cohesion, a unity. And then, well, the goals are that natural talent he has.
Hi, Coach. This is Alberto Pereiron here, live for Radio Estadio 8. Onda, you said right after sitting down that you wanted to highlight the win because of the position and the fact that in the last 3 games, things hadn't gone well. Did you say yesterday that more coaches have been through the situation? Do you feel like a weight's been lifted after today?
No. Me, with way more calm than you'd expect. I'm no rookie at this. Why, I know that. The road's long, right? And the road isn't always a bed of roses. You've got to know how to handle the tough turns. You can't lose your head. We have to be critical, push ourselves, and know when to acknowledge it. But knowing there's always another game and that you've got to keep looking ahead.
Coach waiting for him.
Waiting.
You will. Talking about your Greek holiday, about the way Olympiacos came out aggressive right from the start.
Aggressiveness, the kind Olympiacos showed at the start, and the mindset to push through despite it all. Being 2 goals down and showing those mosaic-itis gestures, this player is so talented and so young.
Not surprised. I also want to congratulate Olympiacos and Mendilibar. I have great admiration for what he's doing. The great connection he has with his fans. I have nothing to say about the team. The team spirit is very good. They have great quality. He has as many points as David Surf. And for sure, the deployers have made a big impact on quality. Very talented. Meet Fuller and Google Wild Watching.
Hi, this is Xavi Olivier Lorenzo from El Pais. You were saying earlier that the last few hours have been very productive, very positive for you guys. Are you sure that this game, this trip, these hours are going to mark a turning point in the season? Thanks.
We'll see who can say it. SUS. O-O-N. We had good feelings. We've shared things. We came into the game looking for what we wanted in a tough situation with the players we were missing and with everything that happened during the match. We'll take that. That's soccer. Now we have to focus on the next one. We have another trip to Girona, then we're heading to Bilbao. The schedule's unusual. I'm not even sure if we're playing 5 or 6 games on the road. That hasn't happened many times. Yeah, let's face it.
Last question.
Hi, Xavi. Miguel Serrano from Marca. I wanted to ask you about a name that hasn't come up, Andrew Luning.
He's a big name, so it's tough for a goalkeeper. And he's been there. He even pulled off the tough one. He's the one who did it.
How was he before? Have you talked to him?
Lunin has a lot of personality. He's always ready. Not just historic. I mean, he's proven it throughout his career. And that's why we always have a lot of confidence in him. We have a great goalkeeper as part of the team. And Lunin, well, plays his role really well.
His role of always being ready when he's needed.
Too bad about letting in 3 goals, but he's done a great job. He's given off a lot of confidence. We've got Lunin ready for whenever he's needed, and he'll play.
Thank you very much.
Well, just pointing out Lunin's work here, despite letting in 3 goals, honestly, there wasn't much he could do. Lunin, the first one was a rocket from outside the box. Man, it's really hard to stop that. And then the other two headers that are really tough. I mean, strikers who had it pretty much completely unmarked there. It's really damn hard. Plus, they had it well, right? I mean, they had it changing direction, send it to one side. I mean, with so little distance between the keeper and the striker, and a striker who's all alone, it's really tough. I mean, in that situation, we really can't expect much from Lunin. So Xavi's fine there when it comes to the goalkeeper. You're asking me here about Mendy. I haven't seen Mendy today. Well, I didn't think he looked that bad. Obviously, it's always a risk. A guy who hadn't played for so many months and all that. But no, I haven't seen him that bad. I've seen some laziness in runs, Asensio in the marking, especially because they were goals from center backs. I mean, because of him, shots taken almost right in the 6-yard box. And it's true that the crosses were coming in from the wings. No, but I haven't seen anything there that bad from Mendy. We know what he's like. All right, the one I was going to say, well, before anything else, let me restate, highlight, and bring back what Xavi said, that the best thing is to put an end to this streak of games without a win. I'll take the 3 points and breaking the streak. And earlier in the Fast interview, he said something like, what stood out the most about the team was the spirit. Well, of course, at least, hey, there's 1,300 of us. Thanks a lot, guys. Likes, please, if you haven't yet. It really helps the channel. And like I say, well, that whole thing about it being the spirit, that pretty much says it all, right? And it's true that Madrid showed that drive to turn around that score against them in the first few minutes, which was really, really, really remarkable. But then, of course, you see Madrid under siege by Olympiacos. Being over there in Greece and all in the last few minutes, you're like, damn, man, if this is how we plan to win the Champions League, we're screwed. Although it's worth pointing out that we're missing 4 center backs. We only had 1 and people before. He asked about Asensio being subbed out. And yeah, it's true. It happened around the 70th minute or so. Yeah, of course, because someone earlier told me damn, we're missing 4 center backs. We only have one, which is Asensio, and we took him off at 15, which in the end was 20 minutes before the match ended. It's just that Xavi just said Asensio was a bit banged up. That Asensio, like some others, I think that, I'm not sure if he also mentioned Camavinga and Guller, because someone also asked me about the substitutions and whether I liked them or not. Man, Camavinga came on at the start of the second half, and Guller, I don't remember the exact minute, but he was also swapped out for a Bellingham we're not sure about. That thing about Bellingham was a question. You know, a question they should have asked Xavi, and I don't think they did. What's really going on with Bellingham? Because in the afternoon, it was hinted a bit that he had some physical issues, but damn. And then you go and put him in. I don't know. Well, the thing is, Guller already had a yellow card from a few minutes earlier, and Camavinga also had a yellow from the first half. I get that the substitutions were made precisely for that reason. That's why because he got a yellow card, and because presumably they also had some physical issue that I heard Xavi mention, and maybe I missed someone there. It's about Asensio because it stands out, of course, when Asensio left. Well, you're left without any center backs. Well, he put Tchouaméni in that spot. That's normal. It says here, wait, whoa, damn, man. So, does anyone know why we're playing 3 games in a row away? Well, the NFL game. That's why we've played away all month, away from home. Big thanks to Real Fanification. Sorry. That was from Ceballos. Camavinga. Sell him now. Thanks for nothing, man. For nothing. I mean, sometimes... Thanks a lot, really. Fanification, thanks a lot, but still, I mean, let's use language properly. Thanks for nothing. For nothing. I mean... They've won Champions Leagues with Madrid. They've been decisive, more Fidi and Camavinga than Ceballos, of course. But damn, let's not go overboard, man. They're bad. They're bad, for sure. But damn, just a little bit of respect. Anyway, thanks for commenting and for the donation. So the stat I was going to mention earlier, which I think Ruben Canizares might have brought up in the press conference, thing is, but I didn't put it that way. We're the 4th team in the Champions League out of 36 teams. The 4th team that faces the most shots, the 4th most shot at team. Only ahead of us are Bodo, Glimt, Karabakh, and Marseille. Amazing, it says here. Madrid, 12-10. Guller wasn't the best, but Jude definitely didn't make it any better. Guller, as always, starting strong and then fading, huh? Guller always starts strong and then fades. Always an issue. Not sure if it's physical. I've seen him in one-on-one duels where he just doesn't manage to impose himself. But hey, it's the Guller we know. I mean, awesome, and a really important guy for this Madrid team. Of course, he's one of the best players of the season, even with a few mistakes here and there. But he loses a lot of influence as the minutes go by. In the final stretch of games, he's not there. He's not doing too well. Well, what do you make of that stat about being the 4th team that faces the most shots in the whole Champions League with 36? So, there are 32 teams in the Champions League, and Madrid is 5th in this ranking, tied on points with the 2nd. There are 36 teams that face fewer shots than Madrid. Can you believe that? Isn't that just crazy? Eh? Totally crazy. Well, so that's the stat I hadn't asked anyone about. Turns out Ruben Canizares is a bit much. I was going that way because he said, well, having conceded 3 goals against Elche. Against Elche, no, Ruben, wait. I'm going to respond to my good friend Ruben. I already replied to you in the chat, Ruben, but I'm telling you now. What he asked Ruben Canizares was about the 2 goals from Elche. The 3 from Olympiacos. What's going on with this Madrid? Well, we need to make some adjustments there, you know. It's CV? Do you use that kind of language for when? Well, then... he doesn't change his expression. Yeah, we need to make some adjustments and stuff. Well, look, Ruben, when you say Benny's goal was legit, the VAR showed onside during the match, and they still called it off. I already replied to you in the chat. I thought the same thing because I also saw that damn onside thing. So then Benny's goal counted because there was a moment when they had it at 1-4 and hadn't taken it off. That goal, that onside they keep replaying, was Mbappe's onside from Camavinga's pass. I swear to you, okay? That's how it was. Vinny was offside, so goal disallowed. They called it off correctly, right? Yeah, they called that goal off correctly. And of course, Carlos Z999 says, look, in the end, Madrid is top of the league and through in the champions and 4th or 5th, tied on points with the 2nd. So basically, with the team still undefined, almost in some ways going backwards, and without the almost, today winning a game. Practically impossible to rate because we've made the difference in both areas, not just one for the worse, in our own and in theirs for the better. Even so, look at where we are. I mean, every team is worse off, except for Arsenal in England. Look, first here, first there, great team, Arsenal. By the way, Paris Saint-Germain and all that, yeah, sure. But aside from those, look, today, Bayern Munich lost to Arsenal 3-1, man. Arsenal is just unstoppable. I mean, Bayern Munich from the other day, I don't know who, but today they took 3 goals from these guys. And I think he's talking right now. Let's put him on. I'm watching him here out of the corner of my eye. At least he always says important things. He's one of Xavi's supporters. Today, he played a pretty decent game. Tchouaméni, who pretty much stands out in every game, so he's just about escaped the fire there. Let's hear from him.
Tchouaméni, who's come back and played a big role in Real Madrid's win today here in Greece. Aurelien, how did you see this victory?
We're happy, you know. It was crucial to win this game, especially if we want to finish at the top. And like I said, we have to keep it up. It's not all perfect, but it's better to head home with 3 more points.
How have you been feeling personally?
Good. I'm not at 100%, but little by little, I'm getting back to my best. I've tried to do everything to help the team. Today, the most important thing is to get the 3 points. We have to keep it up.
And what did you think of Mbappe's games? His 4 goals and Vinícius Jr.'s 2, plus 2 assists. Unstoppable?
No, incredible. We know that with these 2 at this level, it's going to be easier for us. It seemed like it, but there are a lot of players who played an amazing game, like Fide, like Kama, Lunin too. Many players, Fide too, and like I said, we have to keep it up. We really liked the team's energy from the start. We let in 3 goals, but we know that in the end, we fought until the very end and took the 3 points. Thanks, Aurelien. Thanks.
Emphasizing the team spirit, as Ariel Alonso said just a few minutes ago. Still.
Well, those statements there from Aurelien, they call him Oriel. It's Aurelien, right? I think maybe the short version of the name is Oriel. He's been doing well and says he's still not quite at 100% because he's coming back. Was he coming back from that injury? Well then. Well, at least we can say that this guy, even when we wanted to get rid of him sometimes last year, at least we can say that in every game, or most of them, we never say he's one of the ones singled out, right? Absolutely. I'm just setting something up. Hold on a sec, guys. Is it good now? Okay. Or what? And doing production work here at the same time. Okay, ready? Let's go. Look, another thing is he's a good guy, Aurelio. And besides, the other day he gave an interview where he said that boos either make you stronger or they sink you, or they make you stronger. And he showed that he understood those boos at the Bernabeu, even though I'm never in favor of booing the players at the Bernabeu. True, but he understood them, just like Zidane did back in the day, and so many others did, right? Mitchell. I'm not sure if we ever booed Raul at some point. I don't think so. You know, Raul, I think he's one of the few who maybe got a pass back in the day, right? I think so, but we've booed so many. One thing about the 2 up top, it's never a problem. A guy who scores 4 goals, I mean, Mbappe is never a problem. A guy who today provides 2 assists and is an absolute nightmare for opposing defenses. Plus, he draws so much attention on set pieces in the opponent's area, right? It says here, man, no. The Real Madrid players are lazy, and I'm a Madrid fan, but don't generalize. Damn it, don't generalize. Let's see, because I showed it earlier. Look, here are the matchday results for anyone who joined in later. Here are the matchday results for anyone who joined us later. The surprising away win by PSV at Liverpool, from a Liverpool that beat us. The surprising away win by PSV at Liverpool, a Liverpool that beat us. Wow, Slot's team is on fire. I could trust them with it. Slot's team is on fire. I could hand it over to them. And Atletico Madrid's last-minute win against Inter. Atletico Madrid's last-minute win over Inter. And Arsenal's win against Bayer 31. And Arsenal's win over Bayer 31. Here's how the standings look. Here's how the standings look. I think we're going to see it here. We'll see it better. I think we'll see it better here. I'm going to hide the comments for a moment so you can see it clearly. Arsenal is in first place with 15 points and the same 5 matches as the rest, but a much better goal difference than the teams below them. Not from this top 8, which are the teams that would qualify directly for the round of 16. And on top of that, with the advantage of playing the second leg at home, Paris Saint-Germain, Bayern, Inter, Real Madrid. Well, Madrid has the same points as all of them. And then Dortmund with 10. And we kept watching and watching, and now I don't even know who else. And look, of course, I didn't mention this before. Manchester City is out of that spot, but Atletico de Madrid is also through. This could change in the 3 matches left. This could change drastically, but look at Barca. 18th, not even in the top 16. The guy from Danas who just pointed it out to me here in the chat is together with Karabakh. And, well, Leverkusen beat City 2-0, right? Napoli, Marseille, which I thought would be much better this year. Juventus, Monaco, who's going to be our opponent? Also at the Bernabeu? Yeah, the games we have left are 3, exactly, against Manchester City and against Monaco at home. And then we'd wrap things up against Benfica, coached by Jose Mourinho over at Valladolid, a stadium full of great memories for Real Madrid. Oh, so they wrapped up against Chelsea and Sporting Portugal, huh? I forgot to mention it earlier because I hadn't gotten to that part to read it properly. All right, guys. If you want to watch some goals with me, I'm inviting you to come over to the day. Big Gap. I'm going to drop the link right here in the chat so you can copy and paste it. Let's go to the other platform where we can watch goals, match highlights, and so on. So yeah, 45 minutes of live streaming. We'll do the usual more or less here for that amount of minutes, and then we'll head over to Bika for another hour. That thing I just posted here in the chat, the link. So you can copy and paste it and come join us on the other platform, which is really great and totally free. You don't have to pay a single thing. You just hop in. It feels a bit more like family there, though I invite all of you to come. Hey, if there end up being 1,000 of you, that's awesome. Come along, everyone who can, and we'll see. And we put up. Come on, guys. Let's go to Big Web. Miguel posts naked girls for free, says Idos. It's a good way to sell it, but anyway, look, one of the things Pickup allows is that you can put up soccer images and stuff. I don't think the other thing would work, though there are people who post gifs there, some of them flirty. So behave yourselves when we go to the other platform. All right, I'll post it here again. Here's the link. Copy and paste. Let's head over there. It's in the same browser, and you can also download the app later. And it's really cool, so I'm signing off here. We're heading over to the other side. All right, thanks for being here, guys.